As long as they have tools available to really exert their will onto their opponents, they've always been a team that knows what they want, right? And they're able to actually fight, get what they need in the Land of Dawn. We talked about the combo between Rins and Edok, but again, right now in the current meta, with the playmaking being such a big, impactful factor, that's why Dairon and Edok is also a great combination. As long as both of them aren't really put on picks that can't really do anything, that are just forced to play passive or even reactive, I think RRQ is in a good spot. They always need one of them to kind of be aggressive, to have things, to have skills.
Against RRQ today?
I think it's possible. I think we've been pretty fair in saying that RRQ is a very textbook team as well, especially in the early game. They have this very neat way of playing Mobile Legends, and usually when things get kind of scrambly, that's where we see the mishaps happening. But again, that's against some really high-level teams, you know? Dewa, okay, they can bring chaos, but how controlled is their chaos? Because even back then in Season 14, we talked about Team Liquid ID being that controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing their own thing, but with the same picture in mind, and somehow it reconnects, it reconverges. I'm not saying Dewa can't do that, but the odds, bro. Chances are that's really not something they want to rely on.
Yeah, and I feel like that whole chaos thing can only work when you're already super coordinated. I think for Alter Ego's case, the way that they were able to do it yesterday was they got their own comfort pick, which was great, and then they were able to execute because it was all their comfort picks and because they've been playing together as a team without changing a lot, only RP in the gold lane for a while now. For Dewa, it's not just that they want to be chaotic, they are already chaotic. I don't even know what's going on management, coaching-wise, because, dude, handling 5 dudes, handling 5 players is already very difficult. Now handling 3 coaching staffs has been rotating as well, and then handling another 4 players that has been shifted, with Rez joining in, with swapping out for Rizzo, Vans, Foray, Spencer, Kesu. This is wild, yo. The last time I saw a team like this was Season 13 RRQ. The Dewa, the RRQ that was beaten up by Dewa in the first leg, that was when they had 10 people in the roster, they just went back and forth.
So now the shoe's on the other foot, because Dewa United are going up against the potential regular season champions. We're looking at the roster right now. It looks like it's Sorizo, Ray, Spencer, Kesu, as well as maybe. Will they be eliminated today, or can they look for yet another chance to get to the playoffs?
Dewa's last hope, their last stand up against the Kings of Kings. They have to win. They must win if they want to continue contending for playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dewa United Esports.
Quite literally do or die right here, up against overwhelming odds against the team that is fighting for the title of regular season champions. This is where they have to make their stand and bring everything they have in the back burner.
All the pressure on their shoulders right now, going against this team. You're right, it looks like Chen will be filling that jungle position. No Sutsujin with Dairon, Rins, Edok, and Toy. Will this be a difference? They only need one more win to secure the regular season champions. And what's it gonna be? I guess this is Keskute, right? In moments where they think that they should be able to secure a win, we've seen him give playtime to players, new players, to give them a little bit more experience under their belt to help that regeneration process happen for RRQ. But we don't really know much about Chen. What are his heroes? Does he play assassins? Is he a utility jungler?
With my limited knowledge, as far as I know, he plays assassins pretty well, but I'm not sure if his hero pool is anything special to speak about. Before that, we have got to speak about the battle of the Jinins in the gold laner here. Toy. This is Season 15 where the gold lane is important, but the gold lane also relies so much on the rest of the team to try and make something happen.
It really seems like for Maybe, he's always kind of in from the start of the season. The glimmer of hope for Dewa United, but Dewa, instead of playing towards him, has kind of gone on their own path of playing, swapping the rosters again, trying to play for the trio mid. It really always seems to be trio mid. Meanwhile, we see a lot of teams go with the flow. Alter Ego, they knew that, all right, we should stop playing the meta game. We should start playing our game, especially as we get towards the end of the season. I really hope Dewa United can start doing that. Play for maybe. Just, at this point, play for your strengths.
Because if they're trying to fight for the trio mid, they're going against a trio mid that is already well established. We're looking at the stats once again for the King's Initiator, Edok, number 1, number 8, number 6, number 2. But he's been playing a different kind of game for a lot of the games this season. Like, he can play pickoff style, he can play AoE, groundbreaking plays on the Tigreal, he can play the Francos, he can even play the chips really well. And RQ's captain here, Rins, has done a really good job at also accentuating that kind of style. He's also been able to play the Zas. We've seen him on, you know, the long-range heroes, the artillery heroes. He's also been able to play the Valentina, the Luo Yis really well. That flexibility is something that I don't think Dewa United have right now.
Definitely not, man. RRQ, they've made, you know, they've made a mark for themselves by being able to have such a wide hero pool here, especially with KSQ utilizing it to its full potential. Here, there keys the victory here by the Samsung Galaxy S25 series. Chen wins the farming patterns and neutral objectives, especially if his team can back him up. And Dyron getting a signature playmaking hero. But honestly, for number 2, you can replace that with Edok as well. And that's where the puzzle begins for Dewa. Do they want to be concerned about this new addition to the jungle? Or do they want to still put a lot of necessary respect onto the EXP lane and the roaming position for RRQ? For them, they have to explore Spencer's hero pool, and Faramis will be a good choice, especially if they can maybe bait RRQ to picking up that glue. We've seen that being a great counter. Screening on Diamond's movement as well, especially in the objective contest. We know that the EXP lane has so much to say in the initial neutral objective fights. They are the lane closest to the objectives after all. Again, with RRQ playing a very textbook style, Dewa might be able to read into it and maybe set up for some kind of ambush, some kind of rotation to take advantage of what they can expect already, the textbook style from RRQ.
Now it really comes down to how RRQ will want to play the game, right? I mean, does Chen go to the MDL heroes where he plays those assassins, the Lings, or does he just play the RRQ style where... Oh, what is the RRQ style in the jungle? It's been weird. With Tsutujin, it's been more Joy and Hayabusa, but for 8, right? It's
Yeah.
number 1, exactly.
What? Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
What?
What did I say?
What a curveball.
Huh.
Oh yeah, KSQ, is that yawn a sign of exhaustion? Is it a sign that he's been pulling an all-nighter?
Or
trying to
maybe-
figure out Dewa?
He's sleeping on his opponents.
Oh.
Feels very typical of Keskut though, to really overthink things and work really hard. So I think he's just tired.
A hard worker, KSQ.
Hard work, yeah. We're looking at the team head-to-head now between Dewa and RRQ, and obviously there's a stark comparison in terms of the statistics. What about the most pick and ban heroes?
I think immediately you have to take note of the Fanny. This is a known quote-unquote problem for RRQ. And for Dewa, they don't have the same kind of issue, right? They have a very able, presumably Fanny player on their roster. So that has never been that big of a deal for them, right? They would be willing to contest, to trade for some of those heroes. So now, that's like one thing they have against RRQ technically. But again, everything else aside from that, you can see that the chips, you know, these macro tools is something that a lot of different teams have been respecting against RRQ. The textbook style means that, you know, you can kind of plan ahead. And planning ahead on heroes like the chip, like the Luo Yi, is almost as important as the execution.
All right, we're getting to the drafts now, ladies and gentlemen. Dewa have first pick, RRQ have second pick. Saw the statistics earlier on. For Dewa, it's looking kind of bleak on both. With the changes coming in from RRQ, will we be expecting differences in the drafts as well?
I think knowing KSQ, he's definitely going to use it somehow, but I don't think we have a good read on what and how exactly he's going to use it for. I mean, now with a new addition, Chen, is it going to be more flex picks that can go to the jungle potentially? Is he going to hide that jungle pick and confuse Dewa, force them to over-respect it? This is the tricks they were talking about. He has a lot of cards up his sleeve.
All right, let's get straight into the drafts now, presented to you by the official tournament smartphone Samsung Galaxy S25 series. Dewa take out the Phoveus. RRQ go for the Sakura, so Kalea banned out.
Juicin as well, so they're not going to be taking Alter Ego's approach. Alter Ego's way to play against RRQ was, alright, you get your comfort, it's fine, we'll get ours. They will not do the same. They'll ban out the Juicin. They will not get Rins on the Juicin. Kimmy still getting banned out by RRQ. This has been a trend now for RRQ. They just really don't like the Kimmy.
Although the Fanny we talked about earlier is still up on the table here. Definitely an interesting situation. I wonder if RRQ are trying to find countermeasures to try and deal with that without expending a ban potentially. One more ban for both these teams right here. Presumably should be the Fanny, but also the chip that was also highlighted hasn't been shown. And the Lo Yi is still an option that I don't know if Dewa can use.
Dewa, Spencer. He's only played the Jushin so far, I believe.
Yeah, only the Juicin so far. But dude, when you say Chip and Dewa in the same sentence, I'm like, oh my god, I just remembered what happened to them when they went up against the Chip in leg 1. It was the, why would you recall? There's a shortcut right there moment. Oh man, so they banned out the Moskov. Maybe Bombi's like, all right, last time we were up against the Chip, yesterday, or on Friday, Bigotron stole the Chip away from us. Now it's our time to play the Chip because they have left it open, wide open. And I don't think you want to give Edok a Chip unless you're really crazy with it. There you go, finally. Dewa debuting their Chip.
Yeah, debut on Kesu. Utilized the Gatot earlier on, but RQ backfire with something of their own. The Gatot plus the Valentina.
Seen it before. Gatot against the Chip is a thing. Able to contest ground in a 1v1 situation. Also able to counter-engage onto the shortcut through the portal of the shortcut. Can't really go for a full-on engage. And that's where the Fredrian might come in here. Might allow Dewa to try and catch a few stragglers.
Yeah,
Where do you think the
Granger,
Fredrian's gonna go?
Jungle, right?
Are you sure?
You sure about that?
I mean, well, they haven't picked it up in the EXP lane
Yeah,
yet.
Luke did it, BTR did it,
That's
but
true.
yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna be in the jungle.
Who's to say they can't take inspiration from Mr. Luke himself?
Yeah, that was the team that beat them on the Fredrian XP. That's true, with the Chip and the Moskov, not Granger though. That's the difference.
Is that why they banned the Moscow? Ooh. Okay, moving on from these conspiracy theories.
I mean, Joy got banned by RQ, so they're also considering that option.
Yep.
Yeah, actually. Interesting. Well, the Novaria followed through very fast from RRQ. It seems like they have some kind of plan here. No Harith as well. Against the Granger, back then at least, the Irithal was something that comes up occasionally. But I feel like Gold laners now have found a way to deal with the Irithal pick. We haven't really seen it being as decisive in the 1v1 laning phase matchup.
I think the thing about the Granger is right now, there's not really a lot of counters to it. Moskov, Harith in the past has been a great way to deal with the Granger, but if you are able to solo or to get a lead in the early game, a big one, especially with the Sky Piercer, it becomes really tough for RRQ to actually, for any team actually, to deal with it. So, it really is all about how to catch the Granger then. Franco gets banned out. RRQ will probably go for Irithel or Claude then.
Or they just wait, go Badang first.
Yeah, that's pretty good too. They can go Badang. They can, yeah, the Badang will be good.
They can go Tig as well, technically. But technically, for that AoE madness, but maybe a bit more of more spammable utility will be great here against a team like this, like Dewa, that wants to go all in. It is going to be the Badang tool when you're coming through the shortcut. Now that they have the Yeve, maybe real world manipulation, but it's only going to stop them for a little while, and it's already a very mobile composition that RRQ have to begin with. Speaking of mobility, I don't know if they're going to be able to catch RRQ even with the shortcut.
But they go 1-1 here into a real world manipulation. That's range over the 1-1. I was thinking that they would go for something like the Claude, but I guess Toy did do the exact same thing yesterday, and it was okay.
It was pretty good. The thing is, the 1-1's really good against the Chip. That's something you gotta note down, right? The Chip tries to go in and you shoot your skill 1 while also purifying out of the stun, and then you can actually get a free crossbow attack.
So it's safer.
It's pretty safe, while also being able to dish out ridiculous damage in the early game. Yves will be a problem, but RQ already have a way to deal with it. With the Valen, with the Gato, they can just fully dive on the Yves, so... RQ.
So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. The final stand for Dewa United. With a completely new lineup. Esme...
At this point, they're just fighting for being number 1 on the standings. They've already secured upper brackets. Ray, Impure Rage instead of the Concussive Blast. This is going to hurt quite a bit in his clear speed.
Interesting, especially against a Suyo, right? That in theory can clear so much faster here. RRQ are definitely taking note of that. Looking at the rest of the emblems, it's a lot of Impure Rages
They're
coming
angry
in from Dewa. A bit of an underrated aspect of the Esmeralda is the rolling capabilities, because you're pretty quick. You know, you have a built-in movement speed boost here, so let's see if Sorizo can have...
Actually only finds Edom, who's gonna be caught, hasn't talked, will get taken out by Spencer. RW in a weird angle, Dyron taken out by Sorizo. Crossbow Tang dealing nothing, Sorizo's just standing there on a signature pick.
Beautiful skirmish coming in from Dewa. 1,400 gold lead, and you can see that maybe he's been able to get a lot of gold there in the gold lane. Toy now just will be able to get into that lane to try and look for the clear. But all in all, Dewa, really, really good job.
Yeah, man, the ambush from Itoshi Kesu there, staying in the bush for a prolonged amount of time just to ensure he gets the surprise onto RRQ. And I think RRQ kind of scrambled into that fight there. You saw that weird angled, stolen real-world manipulation from Rins. Wasn't exactly ideal. So, talking about the chaos here, Dewa is definitely bringing it up against RRQ.
Oh.
And for now, 92% audience prediction here for RRQ.
Are you surprised?
Not really. Let's be real here.
It's
But
the kingdom.
But with Sorizo doing so well here, this is the problem, man. When everyone's grouped up like that, he is so tanky, and he's doing a lot of damage deceptively, right? Esmeralda actually spams out a lot of spells, so you can't really afford to leave Sorizo unchecked, but there's so many other people, other heroes on the map that RRQ have to worry about.
That's why they're going back to the keys to victory for Dewa, right? One of which was screening Dyron. The fact that Sorizo has been winning the lane, having a little bit more resources to play with those 2 kills, look at what he's been able to do.
Oh, Chen, Sorizo's really bullying this rookie, and he takes the orange buff of Chen. Now Ray's the one ahead of Chen.
So it's not just Dyron that he's been able to screen, he's also been able to bully Chen as well, doing a lot right now. You can see that they've been able to buy some time for Dewa, a really good way to get that attention for Dewa to get this.
As he stands there, watches, and lets the rest of Dewa take control. Dyron gun down, one last shot. He's able to flicker out the safety, no death Sonata.
It's just a lack of damage from RRQ right now, and the lack of AoE. But every single time there was a fight, Dewa are just really using Sorizo to bully everyone away. He is literally single-handedly zoning out the jungle, the gold lane, and the frontliners of RRQ. And they just don't have enough damage in the early portion here to really expend onto the frontliner. If they do, you saw earlier Spencer, Ray, and maybe just spring into action, trying to trade back the damage. So Dewa are really putting everything.
Edok walks away from it, but the turret won't.
That turret's gonna fall. Rins earlier picked up a wrong ult, so the IMU has already been used up. We're not gonna be able to utilize the portal or even the RDWM. Perhaps he's looking for it, but this is not what we were expecting. 10,000 gold lead for Dewa. They're on the next neutral objective here. I don't think Chen can contest. He's 2 levels below.
Whoa, Edok wants to go in, gets a taunt, and the AOT locks him down now, but it's not going to be coordinated right. Edok gonna be taken out. Again, the Sky Piercer up the Granger. Too much to deal with. Maybe gets the Executor stack as well. Kesu and Sorizo are doing a good job. Sorizo really does not want Chen to get anything in the jungle. They want to take the orange buff again.
Man, they are trying to make RRQ pay for fielding, you know. And like, dude, we can't be taken off that lightly, but shortcut.
Range of Dewa United. Luckily, RRQ here still have a bit of power themselves to defend.
And that's why the 1-1 into this lineup coming from Dewa was a big question. They're going all in.
Not too sure about this. Oh, shortcut into the midst of it all. The crush scores! 3 members stunned up. Crossbow of Tang, but it does nothing. Spencer, RWM toying to be caught again. That's not ready for maybe. He goes on Edok. The AOG gets him out in time. Dyron in a 2v1 gets away somehow too.
Oh,
I mean, at the end of the day, we're seeing that RRQ are still looking for opportunities to look for that groundbreaking one-moment play against Dewa, but for some reason, Kesu seems to be aware of that. So every time they do that, there's always a counterplay.
Dyron, as the fist crack, he's gonna have to save it there. The Queller,
Dyron and Edok. And on top of that, because there's already two strong frontliners that can take a lot of damage from Dewa, it enables Itoshi Kesu to not be seen, and all he does is wait around near the portals, somewhere unseen, goes from behind, and always looks for the counter engage. That's exactly what happened in the previous fight as well, and that's where the draft really works here. Seems like RRQ don't really do that well against teams that have a lot of overwhelming counter engage.
brother, that is a 4,000 gold lead on the hands of Cerezo, and he's the first member on Dewa to get level 15. In a meta where usually the XP is the second roamer, Cerezo says, let me get back on my carries.
Oh boy. Seen the Esmeralda before, but this is definitely a great game for the Esmeralda as well. Look at this though. Itoshi Kesu still on the far side. RRQ looking for something.
Yeah.
Cerezo though just stands there, dude, menacingly. And RRQ can't really afford to stick around too long either.
He knows he can. Look at that. Really good zoning coming through. I don't think they can go for the contest again. Chen is still a level below Ray. If they want to go for the 50-50, it's still going to be very difficult. We're seeing Chen focusing on his own buffs instead. And that's going to be a Lord bursted down and fallen into the hands of Dewa here in the 14th minute of the game.
Free take for Dewa United. Taking things very slow now because, I mean, they have a 10,000 goal lead. There's nothing to rush, and they're the ones with a chip.
And they're the ones with the superior siege tools as well. Gas Sonatas, real manipulations as well. They have all the range to work with when they're trying to force RRQ to concede some of these base turrets. They just have to make sure they don't mess up and don't allow RRQ to get the jump onto Spencer and maybe. As long as it's always onto Cerezo or Ray, those are both heroes that kind of do well when they're actually under fire.
Wait, look at Edok.
He's looking for a flank. Possibly trying to go on maybe. Conceal already to the back. Will not be able to find maybe there. The Quilla does land, but maybe he's able to disengage, and AOG will be used defensively. Chen trying to survive. The shortcut comes around. The crossbow tank gets transferred over to Ray, but the Itoshi Kesu immortality won't survive. Zyron caught inside the real world manipulation. Rin's forced to flicker out. Down below, Toy trying to do his best to clear it out. Edok with the top. Falling so from Cerezo. No follow-up, taking things super slow. Chen very low, the base is wide open. They're gonna go for it right here. Game one for